Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into what is absolutely the most shocking global energy news of July 2026. It's a situation that is literally flipping the entire global energy market completely upside down.
Okay, let's dive into this because we're looking at a massive, completely unprecedented paradox here. Historically, as you probably know, Russia is one of the absolute biggest oil producers and exporters on the planet, right? But in a stunning reversal of roles, they are currently being forced to import refined petrol from India just to survive a spiraling domestic crisis. To really understand the sheer scale of this, at least 60,000 metric tons of petrol have already been sent from India to Russia in two massive tankers. And honestly, this is just the beginning. Reports are showing a broader, really aggressive plan for Russia to import up to 400,000 tons every single month from India, Belarus, and a few other partners. So you have to ask, how exactly did an energy superpower run out of gas?
Well, that brings us to the cause of all this, Ukraine's refinery attacks.
Let's see how this builds over time. This whole paradox is the direct result of a highly strategic military campaign involving over 50 Ukrainian drone strikes. These strikes started systematically back in March 2025. Then, by August, things escalated massively. We're talking a record 14 refineries targeted in just a single month. Fast forward to June 2026, and critical hubs like the Moscow Oil Refinery and the St. Petersburg Oil Terminal were hit.
Now, the intent behind this operation has been explicitly stated. Ukrainian officials have noted that this campaign is designed specifically to pressure Moscow both economically and logistically so the war can ultimately end. And the impact is staggering. These targeted strikes have triggered a massive 17% drop in Russia's petrol production. It fell from 1.03 million barrels per day right down to 850,000. In fact, by June 2026, Russian crude processing hit an incredible 20-year low of just 3.95 million barrels a day.
So what does this all mean on the ground? Let's look at the effect, which is a massive domestic fuel crisis inside Russia. You see, these numbers aren't just abstract statistics. They represent a devastating reality. Fully one-third of Russia's total refining capacity is currently completely offline. Imagine a country that spans 11 time zones suddenly losing a third of its ability to produce usable fuel for its own citizens. It's a logistical nightmare.
And the result? Extreme rationing is taking place in over half of Russia's regions. Everyday citizens are facing hours-long queues at gas stations, not to mention record-high prices at the pump. The situation has gotten so incredibly severe that in Crimea, a state of emergency was actually declared, and public fuel sales have been completely banned. Literally banned.
This crisis has reached the highest levels of government. President Vladimir Putin has openly admitted to the disruptions, acknowledging the queues and the difficulty for both motorists and businesses in getting the right fuel. But at the same time, he's countered that stockpiles are only down about 4% and basically categorized the whole situation as merely a temporary hurdle. But energy analysts are pointing out a massive logistical roadblock that's preventing any quick fix. First off, the remaining fuel is simply in the wrong place, and moving it across Russia's vast geography literally takes weeks. Second, Western sanctions mean acquiring the specialized equipment needed to repair these damaged refineries is nearly impossible. Just fixing the critical Moscow oil refinery, for example, is going to take at least 3 months.
Which brings us to the bridge. With all this happening, why did they choose India?
Now, what's really interesting about this strategic partnership is, with a pressing domestic deficit and a booming agricultural season increasing demand, why is Russia turning specifically to India to fill the gap? Well, there are 5 key reasons here. Number 1, deep historical ties that span decades. Second, India boasts world-class refining capacity. They can easily import crude and export refined products like nobody's business. Third is the price advantage. Russia actually amended its tax code to offer subsidies against Indian delivery costs. Fourth, India acts as a very reliable sanctions workaround. And finally, number 5, geopolitics. Russia knows it needs to diversify, and India is, without a doubt, an emerging superpower.
All of this leads us to the climax, the impact on the global energy market.
Because this bilateral trade shift isn't just about Moscow and New Delhi. The macro ripple effects are absolutely immense. Due to supply disruptions, we are seeing worldwide oil price volatility, meaning, you might actually be feeling this at your own local gas pump. According to the International Energy Agency, Russian oil revenues have hit their lowest level since the war began. Meanwhile, India is scoring a massive strategic win here, transitioning to a dominant refiner and exporter on the world stage. and creating entirely new global trade routes that totally bypass traditional Western channels. So, as we look to the long term, the entire global energy map is shifting rapidly. Traditional producers are becoming consumers, and new trade hubs are emerging right alongside an accelerating global shift toward renewable energy. But for today, we're left to ponder this really provocative reality. Will Russia be able to repair its infrastructure and overcome this unprecedented crisis? And in this newly rewritten geopolitical landscape, just how much will India's role as a global energy broker continue to grow? Take a moment to think about what this means for the future of global power. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.